Hi everyone, and welcome to Worth the Calories, a Great British Bake Off podcast. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Catherine.
So this week we have Caramel Week.
Love eating caramel. just try to say I love eating caramel.
Standing over a pot of water and sugar that's getting hot.
We haven't had anyone crystallise their caramel this season.
No, we didn't have that thing. And like, it's coming to mind particularly because they had a lot of trouble with it in Junior Bake Off last year.
Yes.
So, like, maybe they've realised they go to that too often?
I was just waiting. I was waiting for George's caramel to crystallise.
There was one, I think it might have been George, that looked at one moment like it was going to, but they didn't dwell on it, so...
And Jürgen was like stirring like crazy. I'm like, no. If you read the instructions, you've got to not touch it. But I did see some people like putting water around the edge.
So dabbing the edges.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I think I was just getting flashbacks to maybe it was last year. I don't know what year it was.
Something you did, wasn't there?
But yeah.
So yeah, we like eating it. We don't like cooking it, baking it, which is why we've not baked anything this week. So it's going to be purely about the show.
Hurrah.
Which, given our last few episodes have been double bakes. We can focus on the show itself. So, Caramel Week, their first challenge was to create a signature caramel tart.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Because it's quite a narrow brief, but equally they had to bring their own twist on it.
Yeah, and I think looking at some of them, there are things you can do to make a tart really stand out and look great.
Yes.
And some of them absolutely achieved that. So, it's a really good challenge. It's a bit of a blank canvas to put your spin on it, your signature on it. Whilst also, being specific, so you have to still get each element right as well. Yeah. It's good.
There were some interesting decisions.
Such as?
Well, anyone who chose to put it in the oven.
Yeah.
Like, why would you, knowing that it was supposed to be highly decorated, and knowing that most baking type decorations melt, why would you choose to do one that has every chance, and clearly was, in the end, of staying far too hot until far too late in the game?
Yeah, is that the thing of them wanting to wow the judges by doing something more complicated, such as later on doing a sugar dome rather than not Instamelt? I've forgotten the name already.
Isomalt.
Thank you.
yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Is it that thing? But as we've seen, when you make those decisions, they have to come off, and if they don't come off, you're going to be in trouble very, very quickly. It's particularly on the back of having done the pies and the pies not cooling down enough and giving them trouble that you go, oh, you should have learned that lesson.
Yeah. Although I'm saying this, and Jürgen got Star Baker, and he was one of the ones with a very undecorated tart with slightly melty cream on the top. Clearly, he was forgiven. Yeah,
not as bad as the other people who
true.
did that. And he also came top of the technical.
He did.
Top, second. So, whereas the others, I think, were the bottom two.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, George and Lizzie were the bottom two in the technical. Yeah. So I think, that you can already tell the difference there. Those who didn't put them in the oven did very well. I was appreciative of interesting flavour combinations, because I think this is the one where, interesting flavour combinations would have been the one to try. Yeah. Let's do some unusual things.
I don't recall them talking much about how the miso worked or didn't work in Christelle's, because I thought that was curious.
Because was that miso and apple?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think I remember them talking about the apple particularly, and that's a strong flavour, so that would have come through. Yeah. Apple and pecan's a bit of a strange one.
Yeah. I think she'd also maybe overdone her caramel, hadn't she? So their comments were focused on it being a bit bitter because it had just gone over.
Yeah, the thing you have to get right is the caramel here. Yeah, absolutely.
But yes, because I'm curious, because for me, I mean, I love miso, but it's a savoury flavour.
So yeah, a good challenge. And because of that core choice, it really helps split people apart early on.
Yes.
And say where they are. But the technical challenge, the shortbread caramel chocolate biscuit,
come on,
I think is a great challenge.
It is.
And when I look back and think they had the one that was the shortbread jam sandwich biscuit, actually the technical challenge being bake this thing we know very well, but do it flawlessly.
Yeah.
I actually like that spin on it. The more I think about it, the more I go, make them make a Mars bar or, for instance, a Twix.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's really hard to get that kind of thing that you know as something that's machine mass produced, it's really hard to get that same finish in a hand bake. You know, you just can't get the consistency.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I quite like it as a. Maybe it's just as a viewer because it gives us a metric against which to test it. Whereas, you know, making Mamouls or some of the other things they've done, Abelskiver,
you don't even know what you're aiming at.
No,
do
exactly.
You?
So,
would you have a go?
I possibly would.
Okay.
I would be interested to try that. I think the caramel tarts possibly call me more in this. But I've made bourbons and hobnobs and other types of biscuits that we know very well. Yeah, I would have been interested to try this. So maybe to return to at some stage.
Yeah. I would be very interested in tasting your Twixes.
What did you think of them? Any comments on the way they did them?
I felt that George lost the plot. When he put them all into the baking tray to put the chocolate on them, I just thought, I don't understand what you're doing.
No.
All you're doing is creating a problem for yourself to get them out, although they didn't spend too long watching him get them out, apart from the one that he threw across the... I was so pleased to see him sort of have a good night's sleep and come back with power. Yeah. Because I felt he was a beaten man at the end of that first day.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a shame, but it's also not surprising given his performances in other weeks as well.
Yeah.
We sort of felt going into this he was either going to learn and jump on, or this was going to be as far as he could get.
Yeah, absolutely. But
yeah, I think Christelle was doing it really well up until the point she put the chocolate on. It seemed like maybe the chocolate was too warm for the caramel, or the caramel was too soft.
Melt, didn't it?
And it was a shame because that was looking like it was coming together well.
Yes.
And maybe it's the comments on the first caramel round that made her pull back on this caramel.
Because it's just so hard to.
It's so hard.
So hard to unless you are someone that makes toffee and caramel all the time. Yeah. That sense of at what point do you take it off the hob?
Yeah. These things where it is, very much technique and skill. When we talk about the meringues and some of the other things, it's really hard to do it definite. So. I have all respect for all of them in there doing this.
Absolutely.
Let's just be really clear on that.
Absolutely. None of them would be able to do what I've been doing, going, I was supposed to put hot caramel into a piping bag. Yes. So good challenges. And then there was the amazingly complicated showstopper. Yeah,
so the showstopper was a caramel dessert.
Okay.
Which is a nice way to go.
Yeah.
But with a dome on it. And the dome just feels a step too far.
It feels like a complication just to amuse. But maybe not to amuse, just to test, which I guess is the point.
Yeah.
It's their it did feel a bit like we've moved into this advanced stage of the game.
Yes. Which, to be fair, week 7.
Yeah. But like the attitudes of the judges have changed, and the complication level of the showstoppers changed.
Yeah.
It's sort of level up.
But to make it so complicated on make a sugar dome.
Yeah.
I think I wish that it had been, and taking a leaf from something like Bake Off the Professionals. Do a caramel dessert that also has a toffee element and a pouring caramel sauce.
Yeah.
Or, basically show us 3 types of caramel introduced to your dessert.
Yes.
3 types of sugar work, something along those lines.
I agree.
The domes were interesting to watch them do it, but
they were all a bit, apart from, I think Jürgen had got his clear, hadn't he?
Jürgen's and George's, because his was sugar, so it was more likely to be clear anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I quite liked what Christelle did. Like the little sort of...
the
do you
little
call
garden.
it a terrarium? Where you put...
but the little cactus garden.
Yeah, I thought that was a really nice idea.
It's a terrarium where turtles live.
Yes, maybe it is. I was saying that, I was thinking, I'm sure I've just not used the right word there, but never mind. Yeah, I thought the way she'd incorporated the dome into the story of her design was a nice touch, as opposed to just going, here's a nice cake, let me plonk this dome on top of it.
Exactly. Which, for some of them, that did seem to be a bit more what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because when she put that glaze on and then a slight icing over that as well, it looked beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's like, don't spoil it with that dome.
Exactly. It looked so good without it.
Yeah. But then, I guess the dome did give us the opportunity to watch a true bake-off moment with Lizzie helping her.
Absolutely. I don't feel we've had much of that this series, and that was delightful. And the way that she said, is the... Not umbrella. Balloon, thank you. Crikey.
A little different.
Yeah. Is the balloon method really quick? And Lizzie's response was, right, get melting.
Yeah.
And then she could help her. And it was just, they didn't dwell on it in terms of it's taking so long and she shouldn't be doing this and so on. It's just delightful. Yeah. And you want to see that. And, I think that's what makes Bake Off so good when it does it well.
Yeah. Although when she put it in the... I was just like, Christelle.
Giant numpty.
Yeah, absolutely. I did like... I like Lizzie's idea with the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a shame the content of the bowl did look like a right dog's dinner.
But that was a really nice way of doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, turning it upside down. And because she was the only one to do it, it was great. Because it was blue where everyone else was trying to go for something see-through.
Yeah.
That was interesting as well. So a lot of respect for what she did there. But the bake was so bad.
Right? Like, really amateurish.
Yeah, like...
I mean, I know they're all amateurs,
but has something actually gone wrong there?
I don't know.
To make it come out that poorly, or
who knows?
It's so strange, and so unlike them, because like she says, she's all about the substance.
Yeah.
And when you eat it, it's great and it's really good and it's tasty.
Yeah, but clearly not in that case.
Again, this is the sort of thing you learn from. Like, okay, I shouldn't be going for the elaborately designed, finesse-worthy type thing.
Absolutely.
I just make a really good-looking cake that tastes excellent. And doing so put her in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have been slightly surprised if she'd gone out instead of George. Mm-hmm. But it would just have been a raise of my eyebrow rather than oh my goodness, that's a travesty.
Yeah. Totally agree. I think they had led us down that George was the right one to go.
Yeah,
but it was very close in the end.
Yeah. Oh, and that's fair play to him for really pulling it together to do a great showstopper.
Absolutely. We've said this for years watching this show, that when at the end of day one you go, I just need to have a good day tomorrow and I'll be all right. It's the kiss of death because you don't have a good day tomorrow because you're already stressing about it.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. He came in and he went, right, I'm going to do it. And he made, there was a single line in there of, I've scaled back.
Yeah.
And just go, I can appreciate that I don't always deliver on all my ideas. What can I deliver on? And, respect for playing the game and gaming it, properly.
And I think he wasn't stressing about whether I can stay in.
Mm-hmm.
He was going, I want to go out on something I'm proud of.
Yeah.
Which... sadly, he did go out.
Yes.
But it was on something he was proud of.
Absolutely.
So,
and it looked great. It looked really good.
Yeah, no,
and doing the
really
Sugar
good.
Dome, really good on him.
Yeah.
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 Terrific.
Excellent.
We've not mentioned Chigs at all, and I don't think we've mentioned Giuseppe, both of whom had issues with the gelatin in their caramel topping. Yeah. And then it melting and running away with them.
And a few of them had issues with gelatin in mousse, didn't they?
Yeah, Christelle did as well on her mousse, but it was just... you could see it as it was going on for both of them. It was so sticky. It was like watching the Venom movie again at times.
Yes, absolutely.
But it had that sort of thing. It's like, no, find a way to fix this or do it again or...
I must say, I've never really enjoyed using gelatin.
No.
And it's only through doing the Bake Off bakes for this podcast that I've ever touched the stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of thing. It's like, how much is... well, it's like making caramel.
Yep.
Unless you do it a lot, it's really hard to get a feel for how much is going to be enough to make it set versus turn it into a rubber ball.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were going on, what you should do is do one of these things with 8 sheets and do one with 2 sheets and compare the difference and understand, and in the same way you should do, I'm going to bake with a lot of baking powder and see what it does. I'm going to bake with a lot of bicarb and see what it does.
Yeah.
And just understand it in that way. But who has the time? Who has the inclination?
And we're at the stage of the competition where they may very well have planned out what they'd like to do, but they're not going to have had all the time to practice these bakes in the same way as they might have practiced their signatures and their showstoppers for the first few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yes, Jurgen won.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did well. I think he was solid across all the rounds, is the key thing there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Where other people then had a mistake or something that didn't quite come together for them.
It was amazing to me that Giuseppe seemed to have a stumble with his gelatin.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, he's perfect, always.
And again, this is, he's not had a bad week.
No.
So when things go wrong, he's not learned a coping strategy.
Yeah.
But fine. But I feel like everyone's sort of gotten to the same level now.
Yes.
And some can have a good week, some can have a bad week, but they're all pushing each other. And they know that anyone can do well and anyone can have a rough time.
There's no obvious super weak link.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Lizzie's done great things.
Yeah.
Today was not her best, or this week was not her best week, but she's very competent as well.
Yeah, it's a really good batch of bakers this year, I think. I think they're actually a really good range. And I think the challenges have been good as well. The dome, I'm not sure I agree with, but we can at least excuse it and see what they've done.
Exactly.
I think all round, the baking and the bakers has been good.
Yes. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
The harshness of the judging and the hosts, I could do with less of. It's getting mean at this stage.
I didn't enjoy Noel sort of reading them, or I was just like,
yeah. It was the. Oh, is that the RuPaul phrase for it? Reading, yeah, okay, serving the tea or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just. And there's just the constant comments at Paul and at a couple of other things. And it's like...
it's also nothing's new anymore.
Yeah. Bring back the joy of it show's just about... It's supposed to be about, we're baking and we're baking hard.
Do they need new hosts next season?
Possibly. Because,
we can't say they need new judges. Because if you got rid of... As much as I'd like to see Paul Hollywood replaced, who would he be replaced with?
I don't know, and there aren't enough celebrity chefs in that way. And to be fair, when they have had chefs in, whilst they've been people you know the names of, not celebrities. Certainly the point they've come in. I think I said it last year, and I'll say it again. I think guest judges. I think get a proper caramel expert in, someone who's studied it or something,
absolutely,
to come and judge it and talk about it in depth and. They're not going to do that, are they?
No.
They've got a very fixed format at this stage.
Absolutely.
So next week is Free From week. So trying some different things. It's been interesting when we have gotten to try it, to be fair. And again, understanding slight differences in baking.
Yep. I'm not making another aquafaba meringue.
And I think I've still got a pot of the stuff you put in gluten-free baking to make it hold together. So... if it's still in date, we might be able to use that again because we used like a tablespoon and that was it.
Fair enough.
But we'll see. I'm interested to see what they do, especially having had the vegan baker and now doing vegan. I think they were vegan sausage rolls, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with it and how they do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Into the quarterfinals. Interesting times. We will be back and baking next week.
Yes, definitely.
Do make sure you tell us what you thought. Who do you have an early odds on for a winner? Someone you're keeping an eye on? Let us know. Look us up on Twitter. We are at Eloquent and Gushing. If you are baking, look us up at Eloquent and Gushing on Instagram as well. Do make sure you tag us or use hashtag Worth the Calories so we can see what you bake as well. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
This is me recording over here.
This is me recording over here and not eating a biscuit.
Not eating.